I still remember the exact moment I found the first note. It was a crisp autumn morning when I stepped out of my apartment, and there, tucked under my doormat, was a small, folded piece of paper. Curiosity got the better of me before caution. The handwriting was neat, almost elegant, and the message was simple: "You have a smile that lights up the darkest days." I laughed nervously, thinking it was a harmless prank. At first I thought it was sweet, maybe someone from my building or a friend trying to be playful. But as days passed, the notes kept coming, each more personal, more intense than the last. They started appearing in my mailbox, slipped under my door, or left on my car windshield. The thrill of a secret admirer was quickly overshadowed by a creeping unease I couldn't shake. I tried to ignore them, telling myself it was just someone lonely or shy. But the notes began mentioning things only I would know, like my favorite coffee shop order or the route I take to work. That's when the excitement turned into fear. Someone was watching me, learning my routines, invading my privacy. One afternoon, as I sat in my favorite cafe, I noticed a man sitting across the street, his eyes fixed on the window where I was. He wore a baseball cap pulled low, but I caught his gaze just as he quickly looked away. My heart pounded. Was this the person leaving the notes, the secret admirer I never asked for? I started changing my habits, taking different routes, avoiding places I usually frequented. But it didn't stop him. The stalker adapted, showing up in new places, always just out of clear sight, but close enough to be unnerving. I felt trapped in a web I couldn't escape, constantly looking over my shoulder. At work, I found another note on my desk. This time, it wasn't just words of admiration, but a chilling warning: "I see you, even when you think you're alone." My colleagues noticed my distracted behavior, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone the truth. Who would believe a story this frightening? One evening, walking home late, I heard footsteps quicken behind me. My pulse raced as I turned corners, trying to lose whoever was following. But the footsteps matched my pace, relentless and close. When I finally dared to glance back, the shadow melted into the night. That was the moment I knew this was more than just admiration, it was obsession. I installed security cameras around my apartment, but the stalker found ways to avoid them. Sometimes I would receive packages with strange items, photos of me taken from a distance, trinkets from places I'd only been once. Each delivery was a reminder that my privacy was shattered. Sleep became impossible. Every creak in the night, every flicker of a shadow outside my window sent my heart racing. I felt unsafe in my own home, a prison to the invisible eyes that never blinked. The person who once made me smile with sweet words now stole my peace with silent terror. I confided in a close friend who insisted I go to the police, but without concrete proof, they said there wasn't much they could do. The notes and photos were disturbing, but not illegal enough to act on. I was left to navigate this nightmare alone, hoping to catch a break. Then the notes took a darker turn. The words shifted from admiration to demands, urging me to respond, to acknowledge the stalker's presence. The tone was possessive, threatening. I felt the walls closing in tighter, suffocating me with each message. One afternoon, I found my apartment door slightly ajar, though I was certain I had locked it. Panic surged through me as I stepped inside, searching every room. Nothing was missing, but the feeling of violation was overwhelming. Someone had been inside my sanctuary. I started carrying pepper spray and changed my phone number, hoping to disrupt the stalker's access. But the messages kept coming: new numbers, anonymous emails, even texts referencing conversations I never had. It was as if the stalker was everywhere and nowhere at once. My friends tried to support me, but the strain showed. Invitations dwindled as I withdrew into myself, too scared to be alone or out in public. The obsession had stolen more than my safety. It took my freedom and my joy. One evening, as I sat curled up on my couch, my phone buzzed with a new message. This one was different, no words, just a photo of me sleeping, taken from outside my window. Terror consumed me. How had the stalker gotten so close, so brazen? I called the police again, this time desperate and pleading. They promised to increase patrols near my home and assigned an officer to keep in touch. Still, the fear lingered, an ever-present shadow darkening every moment of my day. Determined to take back control, I started documenting everything, the notes, the sightings, the messages. I created a timeline, hoping to find patterns or clues that could lead to the stalker's identity. Each entry was a painful reminder of how deeply this had invaded my life. One rainy night, I heard a faint tapping on my window. Frozen, I stared into the darkness, heart pounding. Suddenly, a small envelope slipped through the gap at the bottom of the frame and landed on my windowsill. Inside was a single line, "You can run, but you can't hide." The days blurred together in a haze of anxiety and sleepless nights. I couldn't concentrate at work, and my relationships strained under the weight of constant fear. The stalker wasn't just a shadow outside my door. It was a dark cloud hanging over every aspect of my life. One afternoon, I spotted a figure lurking near my building again. This time, I took a deep breath and confronted him, demanding to know why he was following me. He smiled unnervingly, whispering, "I just want to be close to you." His words chilled me to the bone. After that encounter, things escalated quickly. The stalker's presence became more aggressive, more invasive. I found my belongings tampered with, my emails hacked, and my social media flooded with strange, obsessive comments. There was no escaping the suffocating grasp of this unknown person. I decided to move temporarily to a friend's place, hoping distance would help. But even there, the messages continued, photos taken outside the new location, cryptic notes slipped under the door. The stalker was relentless, crossing boundaries I never thought possible. Feeling utterly trapped, I reached out to a support group for stalking victims. Sharing my story with others who understood was a small relief, a reminder I wasn't alone in this terrifying ordeal. Their advice gave me strength to keep fighting. With renewed determination, I hired a private investigator to help uncover the stalker's identity. Every clue felt like a lifeline, pulling me back from the brink of despair. The investigation revealed unsettling truths about how much of my life had been monitored without my knowledge. One day, the investigator called with news. They had a potential suspect, someone I never expected, a person from my past who had silently re-entered my life under the guise of friendship. The realization hit me like a thunderbolt. Confronting this person was terrifying but necessary. I met them in a public place, heart hammering in my chest. Their calm demeanor masked the obsession that had tormented me for months. Their denial was chilling, but I knew the truth. The police finally had enough evidence to take action. The stalker was arrested and charged, but the damage was done. My sense of safety was shattered, and the road to healing felt long and uncertain. Even now, months later, I'm still haunted by the experience. The scars left by someone who once claimed to admire me run deep. But sharing my story here is part of reclaiming my voice and reminding others that stalking is a dangerous reality, not just a scary story. Sometimes, late at night, I still check the locks twice, glance nervously out the window, and wonder if the nightmare could return. But I'm learning to live with the fear, to find moments of peace in a world that once felt so unsafe. This experience has changed me in ways I never anticipated. It's made me more cautious, more guarded, but also more resilient. I'm slowly rebuilding the trust I lost, brick by brick, day by day. I'm grateful for the support of friends, family, and professionals who stood by me when I felt most alone. Their presence was a lifeline, a reminder that even in the darkest times, I wasn't invisible. To anyone out there who might be going through something similar, please know you're not alone. Speak up, seek help, and hold on to hope. It's a terrifying journey, but there is strength in confronting the shadows. Though the stalker is behind bars, I still carry the weight of what happened with me every day, but I'm determined not to let fear define my life. The path forward is uncertain, but I'm ready to face it, step by step. Every time I see a new note or feel a sudden chill, I remind myself of how far I've come. The obsession that once consumed me no longer controls my every breath. There's a flicker of freedom growing inside, fragile but persistent. Life after stalking is complex and messy. Healing isn't linear, and some days are harder than others. But sharing my story here helps me process, connect, and maybe even help someone else find their way out of the darkness. I still wonder about the stalker's motives, what twisted admiration turned into obsession. It's a puzzle with pieces I may never fully understand, but I'm learning to accept that some questions don't have easy answers. The experience has taught me the importance of boundaries, of listening to that inner voice warning you when something feels off. Trusting myself has become a crucial part of reclaiming my life. I'm also more aware now of the signs to watch for, hoping to spot red flags early and protect others from similar pain. Awareness and education are powerful tools in combating stalking and harassment. As I write this, I'm still navigating the complex emotions of loss, fear, and hope. The journey isn't over, and maybe it never truly will be, but I'm no longer a victim. I'm a survivor, ready to face whatever comes next. Sometimes, when the city lights blur through my window, I feel a strange mix of vulnerability and strength. The shadows of the past linger, but they don't have to control my future. I'm learning to find joy in small moments again, the warmth of sunlight on my face, laughter shared with friends, the simple act of walking down a street without fear. These are victories, silent but profound. The stalker's story is part of my story now, a chapter marked by pain and resilience. It's a reminder that even the darkest chapters can lead to growth and transformation. Every day is a balance between vigilance and letting go, between remembering and moving forward. It's exhausting but necessary, a delicate dance with healing. I hope that by sharing this, others will feel empowered to speak out, to seek help, and to know they're not alone in facing the nightmare of stalking. The journey continues, one uncertain step at a time, but I'm walking it with my eyes open, my voice growing stronger, and my heart slowly reclaiming its peace. Thank you for listening to my story. It's raw and unfinished, just like life, but it's mine, and I'm ready to keep telling it.